everyone and welcome back to James Street South. Today we are with Lizzie and we are going to be making fajitas. Lizzie, what are we doing first?
Okay, we're putting the chicken in first, cook the chicken off, so just a wee small bit of oil in the pan.
Okay. So, Lizzie, I don't know very much about your cancer journey. So tell us a little bit about that.
So I was 24 when I was diagnosed.
Okay.
Which is kind of an oxymoron, but it was lucky because of a lot of the charities count you as a child at that age. So it meant that I got a lot more extra support that I wouldn't have got otherwise.
Yeah.
The Cancer Fund for Children, Click Sergeant, all were charities that I was able to use their resources and help because of my age.
Well, I was 23, so I just about made it in as well.
Yeah. Also, I think what helped in that regard as well was when I was going up to the hospital for my treatment, because I was the only one currently in Antrim getting treatment of that age, I was just like in out, like got almost VIP treatment because I had the one nurse from Cancer Fund for Children. Yeah. And she was there with me. Like she was even like there was days she would give me my chemo to get me through quicker.
Wow.
If like they were busy. So yeah, although I was young, it was probably a good thing.
Bless them.
Yeah.
So what were you diagnosed with then?
I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Are you serious? How is there so many people Hodgkin's lymphoma people? There's so many. So,
are you? Is that what you were?
Yes, I was Hodgkin's lymphoma as well. So I just love talking to people about it because I've not really had that opportunity yet. So talking to someone else who's been through the same experience and is also young, it sort of almost makes you realise like I'm not a weirdo here for having cancer because I haven't really talked to many people, you know?
Well, before I was diagnosed, I wouldn't have, like I didn't, like you never think, I know it doesn't have like an age range, but you never think of someone our age getting cancer or having it, like it's not the norm.
So how did you find out then?
So I was literally sitting on the bed one night in my room, we were watching TV, me and Mark, my boyfriend, and at the time we hadn't been going out that long, and all of a sudden I went to scratch my neck and I was like, oh my goodness, the left side of my neck's really fat. And he was like, he laughed and I was like, no seriously, it's much like bigger than the other side. Yeah. And he felt it and he was like, oh yeah. I was like, oh, it's probably just swollen glands. And he was like, no, go tell your mum. Went downstairs, told mum, and she was like, no, I think you should go to the doctor, just even if it's swollen glands, you might need to get like an antibiotic or something. Yeah. That is what they thought it was at the start.
You'd never think anything else, would you?
And that's what I was treated for at the start, and then numerous appointments and hospital visits later. Then they found out what it was. Actually, before I was told I had cancer, I was admitted to stay in hospital because I had a blood clot in my neck caused by the tumour growing and pushing on the jugular vein. So I had to actually stay in hospital, and it was when I was in the stay in hospital that I found out that I had cancer.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a bit of a shock to the system.
How did that feel for you at 24? I mean, your life was really only just taken off at that point.
I thought I was going to die. I was just like that's what you just automatically think.
As soon as you hear the word cancer,
you think of being bald, being chubby because of steroids, and like being sick all the time.
Did you have steroids during your treatment?
I had very little. So I was lucky, and I didn't get much sickness either. I
was given steroids at one point because I was really struggling with chemotherapy, but during my treatment the weight completely piled on me.
Really?
Yeah, so I put on about 40 pounds altogether. So I went from 140 pounds to 180 pounds in the space of like a couple of months. Yes. And I think a lot of that's to do was because beforehand I would have been training a lot, and then I went from that to not doing it at all. Yeah. And my body was just like, what the flip are you doing here?
Okay, I'm just gonna go wash my hands.
No worries. So what are we going to be doing now then?
So I have all my spices here, and I'm just gonna put them all in together, give them a good mix round before I blitz them in with the chicken.
Okay, so what spices are you using today?
So I'm using turmeric, paprika, crushed chilies. There is a wee bit of sugar there. There's garlic powder and a wee bit of corn flour.
How soon after you found out that you had cancer, did your treatment start? Was it quite a quick process? Or?
At the time it probably seemed really long,
Yeah.
but I think in hindsight it was quite a quick process. I had quite a few delays because there was issues with the PET scanner that I needed to get scanned before I started my treatment for them to stage how far along it was and to see kind of how long my chemo needed to be.
Yeah.
So that probably put my treatment back, I would say, over a month.
And at that point you just want to get it done, don't you?
Yeah, and I think it actually went on a stage to then when I finally started my treatment. But it was probably only actually a couple of months.
Yeah.
But it seemed like a really long time.
And so what chemotherapy did you end up doing then?
So I had ABVD.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only had 2 rounds, which is like 4 sessions. So I'm just
Right.
going to put my veg in now.
Yeah, fabulous.
So that's why I probably didn't get the sickness and stuff.
Well, to be honest, I had 6 rounds. No, I had 4 rounds as well, so I had 8 sessions.
Okay, yeah. So
we
you
had
double
the
that?
same?
No, you double because I had 2.
Oh yes, you're right
yeah.
then. Yeah, so you would have had double what I had, but I think you still sort of get the experience with even so little,
Yeah.
you know?
I was the opposite. I piled on the weight after because I kind of went off a lot of foods during my chemo and didn't really feel like eating. And they kind of have this mentality of, if you want something, like don't try and be good, don't limit what you eat. Like if you want ice cream at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you have a bowl of ice cream because if that's what you can eat and get into your body,
getting something into your system, yeah.
So I couldn't really use that while I was on my treatment, but then when I finished my treatment, I kept that in my head, and so then I was just eating and just putting on weight.
What do you think was the most difficult thing through the whole journey? What do you think affected you the most, or what did you struggle with the most?
Probably the hair loss.
Yeah.
I think I felt I felt it alienated me from my friends because I seen all them with their hair and like doing normal stuff, going out, doing stuff that I would have been doing, and now I wasn't doing this, and I kind of probably alienated myself more than what I feel like they alienated me. I feel like I did that to myself because of my mindset and what was going through my head, because I just didn't really feel like I could relate to the stuff that they were talking about anymore, and like I wasn't going to come in and like rant to them about cancer and stuff.
Yeah.
Because, like,
you don't want to put a downer on it.
Yeah, they didn't need to hear about it.
Yeah.
Although they would have been fine and they would have been glad to. It just, probably then I felt that affected then my mental health, and I probably kind of shut myself off more.
What sauces are you putting in there?
So I am just putting in a honey barbecue sauce.
Ooh, fabulous.
So I basically cheat doing that because that's the main part of my sauce,
main
and then
flavour.
I just put in the spices. Once this all cooks down and the vegetables cook down a bit, I'll put in the spices. I squeeze a wee bit of lime in, and that's about it, and then I make the guacamole.
So one thing that we haven't talked about yet is hair and recovery. So
Yes.
you are probably one of the only other people that I've met that has also had hair and recovery extensions. So at the moment I do have extensions in my hair. So hair and recovery is basically extensions made for people who are going through chemotherapy. And how did you find that experience? I felt like a new woman.
It was an absolute lifeline for me. Like it completely, like any pieces that hadn't been put back together after my treatment, it all came together once I got my hair, because it literally, like, I didn't know until you told me that you had them.
Yeah.
It literally just like, it's your own hair again, and you just feel like you again. Like, so if you look like you
feel like you.
Yeah. And it kind of just, then everything else kind of fell into place after that.
It's a real mental thing, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I just feel like with longer hair, it's like, oh, you look in the mirror and you're not sort of, oh goodness, what, like
I
there's a
felt
bald
so
spot and stuff.
unfeminine and like.
Yeah, I completely understand that.
And like at this stage, me and Mark had been going out quite a while, and like he was so good, like he was brilliant. But I just kind of felt like so, like why would anybody fancy me, and why would he, like he probably just looks at me and thinks, ugh.
Your self-confidence goes down totally
Yeah.
because in my experience, my body totally changed because like it's really weird because I was so proud of my body for getting me through it, but I was almost like a wee bit annoyed at my body because I was like, why the flip did you have to mess up in the first place? Like why can't you just do what you're meant to do?
You feel betrayed by it.
Yeah, you do, and you just feel as if I felt as if my dignity had just gone completely.
Yeah.
And whenever I managed to get my hair back, it was very emotional because you've thought about that moment for so long and you've looked in the mirror. Every time I would get into the shower, I would look and see how much it had grown, and I'm not sure if you remember this, but whenever your hair started to grow back, there's like a stage where it's sort of like quite brittle.
So I didn't get that because I kept shaving it.
Oh, you shaved yours totally off? Well,
So I
never should have
shaved
done
mine
that.
before I started my treatment. They couldn't tell me whether or not, obviously that was my first big question, not was I going to live. I was like, am I going to lose my hair?
I know, that's me straight on Google.
And they actually said that with the type of chemo I was getting, and because I was only getting the 2 rounds, that actually I might just thin out and I might not lose all of it. In the end, I decided that I would cut it off to donate it because if it had started to fall out during my treatment, they wouldn't have took the hair because it wasn't healthy hair.
Yeah.
So I would have been really annoyed if I had let it fall out and then somebody else didn't get to use it.
Do you know how courageous that is? That's such an amazing thing to do.
I kind of thought it was probably knowing my luck, like,
Do you know,
I
I really don't think I could have done that.
Well,
I really
I got
don't.
it cut to a pixie cut, and then I thought, worst comes to worst, if it doesn't fall out, at least when it's thinning, it won't be like big, long
Yeah.
clumps coming out. So it was just like wee bits on my pillow, which did
Yeah.
that helped me. But then when it started, like when I couldn't even keep the pixie cut, that was the hard bit for me. Then one night, I finally decided I'd had enough. At 2 o'clock in the morning, shaved all my hair off. Then
A Britney
realised,
Spears moment.
oh crap, Mum's going to come up in the morning to wake me up and I'm going to be bald. So then I went to sleep with a winter hat on, so that when she came in to wake me up, I had the winter hat on. She was like, are you cold, love? I'll put the heating on. And I was like, no, I just sit down. And she was like, what's wrong? And I was like, no, I just didn't want to shock you. I've shaved my head and I'm bald now. So I whipped the hat off and there I was, big bald head.
Wow.
The first time in my life my dad had more hair than me.
Do you know, whenever I was going through it, I didn't get to the stage of shaving my head because basically whenever my hair started to fall out and I got it cut up quite short not that December, but the December before. My hair didn't actually all fall out, it just got quite thin. So
See, I probably know mine's it didn't all fall out, but it was
pretty thin.
I couldn't have
Like
hit
mine was quite bad towards the end, it was, but I was just like, I can't face shaving it. Like
It's
even
not
though it
for
was loose
everybody,
strands, I just
yeah, it's
couldn't,
not for
but
everybody.
I wish I had the strength to do it, if that makes sense.
I don't think it was a strength thing. I think it was pure stubbornness. I was like, you're not going to take my hair from me. I'll take it.
That's a really good way of putting it though. That you just wanted to be in control. 'Cause it's one of the few
it
things
was a
that you
control
can
thing.
control. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, no, you're not going to take it. I'm going to get rid of it. So I got rid of it.
And how, another thing, because we've actually struggled with similar things through it. So my 2 things have been hair loss and weight gain.
Yeah.
Because I think that totally changed me as a person. But it's almost like taught me to love my body in a weird way, being like, love
Appreciate
it, for
it
getting me
more,
through
yeah.
it and appreciate what you've got. How did you find it?
I was the same. Those were probably the 2 things. I think just my appearance in general, and then I kind of just felt like my identity and confidence and everything had just been taken away from me, and I didn't know how to get it back. I was trying so hard to get back to the Lizzie that I was before treatment. I think if I had accepted sooner that I wasn't ever going to be that Lizzie again, that I just had to find what I was now, it would have been, like I was punishing myself and I was like so angry at myself, and like I was blaming myself for so much. And then if I had down days, I was angry at myself because I wasn't sick enough to be sorry for myself. And you know, like I was comparing myself to other people's situations, and I probably punished myself a lot more than I should have. But it's just one of those things, like when you lose confidence and you lose your identity, you're just...
One thing I think that and I mean, it may sound vain, but who cares? We're talking about everything today. My hair is probably one of my favourite things about myself. And for that to go, because I have quite a similar skin tone to you and hair colour, dark hair, pale skin.
Yeah.
And it was something that I would always get complimented on.
Yeah.
And having that taken away from me, I was like, no one has anything to compliment me on now.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like that was what made me different, and now cancer made me different.
Yeah.
And it may sound weird to say that, but that's just...
You don't want to be defined by cancer.
Yeah, definitely. And I definitely feel like it, and maybe it still does define me to a certain extent, because how long has it been since your treatment now, Lizzie?
So, it's been a couple of years at least. I think I'm 2 years in the clear now. Just passed there a couple of days ago.
And how do you feel?
I feel good. Like, I'm probably only mentally getting back to a better place now.
Yeah.
It took a lot longer than I thought, and even when I thought I was better, I wasn't.
I think I'm at that stage.
Yeah, I think
I'm like just
it took
trying
a long
to...
time for me to actually digest what had just happened.
Yeah.
Like, I remember somebody asking me, oh my goodness, so you're cancer free, how does it feel not to have cancer? Like, has it sunk in? And I was like, it hasn't even sunk in that I had cancer.
Yeah.
And now I'm being told I don't have cancer, and I kind of just felt like it was like, okay, like, you've been there, you've done it, you've got it, you got your treatment, you're better, like, go back to normal. And I kind of just felt like I wasn't, like, not that I wasn't ready to not have cancer, I wasn't ready to just be shoved back into normality, and no one shoved me back into normality, no one was rushing me, I rushed myself.
Yeah.
Like, I threw myself back into work.
I was very surprised when you said that you were back to work, because I physically don't think that I could just yet.
I went to back to work a month after I had my last radio session, and I was back to work a month later.
Wow.
But at the time I thought it was what I needed, and yeah, it was what I needed at the time, but then after I suffered for it.
Yeah. So what are we doing now then, making the...
So I'm just making guacamole, so I'm just mashing up the avocado, and then all you put into this is your garlic paste, crushed chilies, squeeze half a lemon, and then I usually squeeze a wee bit of lime into this as well.
Oh, fab. Looks great. But yeah, it's crazy experience to go through, especially at 24 years old, whenever everything's just sort of starting. So you're obviously working full time before.
I was working full time, yeah.
And how did your boyfriend deal with it all?
He was brilliant.
That would have been such a shock, especially newly going out with someone.
I think that was the hard bit for me. Like, I didn't feel that he deserved to have to. It was so early on that I didn't feel like I should be dragging him through all this. So like, I gave him an out and was like, you don't have to do this. Like, just like go. Like, this is not something. Like, I ended up at a fertility doctor, obviously, because that's one of the things that can be affected by treatment. And I just remember sitting there in the waiting room, and I just was crying to myself. I was like, because he was with me, and I was like, this isn't something we should be doing when we're only going out for like 10 months.
Yeah.
And I just felt like that I was doing this to him.
Yeah.
But he wanted to do it with me.
It's almost like forcing them to commit almost.
I
in a
felt like
weird
that's
way.
what I was doing, but I wasn't. Like, he wanted to be there every step of the way, and he was brilliant. But I just didn't feel that
sometimes
he
you just
it.
won't listen to anything anyone says, and if you're as stubborn as I think you are, then you're just sort of like, I'm going to do this my way, no matter what.
Yeah, there's no telling me.
I know, but do you know what? It's actually so commendable that you're able to come and just like chat openly about it. And
I'm quite open about it now, but I maybe wouldn't have admitted stuff. Like, I probably would have said I was fine for a long time when I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have admitted how.
It's traumatic. Yeah. It really is. It is traumatic, and I don't really think there's any right or wrong way of going through it, because there's so many different options and everyone's so different.
Yeah, there's no, like, you say you couldn't have shaved off your hair and I had to. There's no, like, what me doing that isn't the right way and you not doing it isn't the wrong way.
Whatever you think is best
like,
for you.
You need to do what's good for you.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that this cooking series, for example, is just really, it gives such an insight into how people feel before, during and after, because people completely change.
Completely.
Through that. Like, I am nowhere near the same person that I was 2 years ago.
Yeah, I'm the
And
same.
To be honest, I kind of do have cancer to thank for that, as weird as it sounds.
I don't think I would want to be the person I was before.
No, neither would I.
Because I think it's taught me like life lessons that I will take with me through the rest of my life. I like appreciate things so much more that I wouldn't have appreciated before, that I would have took for granted.
It's really nice also being able to empathise with people now who
Yeah.
are also going through it, being in a position where you're like, you know, I can actually help this person, or
Yeah.
I've experienced the hardship, I know how to do it. So yeah, it's brilliant. So what, are you just sprinkling on a little bit more?
I'm just putting on a wee bit more.
Tell you what, Lizzie, that looks unreal. That looks unreal.
So you can do like any vegetables, like sometimes I do mushrooms, you can like leave out stuff, like you don't have to, you can just do what, like it's just chicken and veg.
What was your favourite food during chemo? Do you
I
think?
really, like, so I would have been a really sweet person before
Yeah.
my chemo, and then that completely went during my chemo, and I just wanted like salty things, like I loved ready salted crisps, the salty
Ready
vinegar.
salted wine? Oh, I would have had salt and vinegar all day long.
And I just like couldn't have anything hot enough. So like my sisters would message me after they were finished work, because they didn't live at home, but they were brilliant through the whole thing as well. So they would have came and seen me after work, and they would have been like, do you want anything? And I'm like, get me salt chili chips, the hotter the better. And I was just like eating all the chilies in it, and seeing now like it would burn the mouth off me.
Oh, it's
and
not
I
mad.
can't cope with it now, but like at the time it dulls all your taste and stuff, completely changes. And like there's foods I can't eat now at all. Like I can't eat ginger nut biscuits because they tell you to eat them like when you're getting your chemo to stop feeling sick.
Yeah.
And I just link it to chemo. And jelly babies as well. I can't do jelly babies.
Even certain smells just completely
Oh,
put me
yeah.
off stuff now.
My mum had apple scented soap when I was getting my treatment.
Ooh.
And see now, if I smell apple scented soap, I'm just like,
Even hand sanitizer for me now is really, really
I'm not
hard.
too bad with that. It's the wipes they used to use when they were cleaning stuff in the hospital. Do you know the like?
Yes, I do know what you mean, but it was the flush for me. The flush, because even talking about it, I feel nauseous right now.
See, that's why I can't eat jelly babies, because
I
my
know.
mum used to give me jelly babies because you used to get a taste in your mouth.
Yeah, but the sweetness from the jelly babies would have been lovely at the time, but that
So
taste
good.
now just brings out those
Yeah.
memories straight back to you. So what do we have left to do then?
This is literally ready, I think. Oh no, I need a wee bit of olive oil in my. You just put a wee like drizzle into the guacamole.
Oh, fab. Here, did you have a pick line during
Yeah.
your treatment? So did I. What did you think?
I hate it.
Did you?
Hate it.
Why?
I did not get on with it. I just like.
Oh yes, do you know what? I've heard some people do have a lot of problems. Right, sure, tell me this story then.
So mine's like wouldn't ever work or do what it was told. Like
Did it always get blocked?
It was always blocked, and then like so the nurse at home would come out and like try and do something. She was like, no, it's blocked. So then we'd go all the way up to Antrim, and I'd get there and they'd be like, no, it's fine. And then we'd have to go back home again.
That happened
and
to
then
me
it
before.
moved in, and then that was fine. They could just push it out. And then when it moved out, probably my own fault because I was doing stuff I shouldn't have been when I had the pick line in. I was like sanding furniture and stuff and painting. And then they had to take it out, so I couldn't use it for my last treatment because it had come out and they can't push it back in. They can pull it out if it goes in, but they can't push it in. So I had to get it took out. So me and my
I'm so sorry, that's actually traumatizing.
yeah, so I didn't like my pick line. I like what it done, and if it had worked and served its purpose, it would have been my best friend.
I like the idea, but not the execution.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I hated sleeping with it at night.
I hated showering with it.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't like showering with it either.
I felt like that part of my arm was just pure dirty.
I never moved that arm at all. Like I would go about the house and be like this, because I just felt like it was off limits.
I quite liked it towards the end. I was like, it's sort of part of me now, can you not just leave it there?
Oh no, I was like, whip it out, get it out.
But you know, whenever I was getting mine removed, it actually really hurt me because the skin had grown around the hooks.
Oh, because it had been. Oh, see, the problem was they didn't have any hooks when I was
No,
getting mine put
I-
in, so that's why mine kept moving because I
I
didn't have
kid you
the
not,
hooks.
the nurses came in and they're like, you'll be grand, it's going to whip. It was actually my last chemo. They were like, right, we're just going to whip this out here. And I was like, right, okay, no worries, this is going to hurt. Every time they were going to do something, I was like, is this going to hurt me? Because I need to be like mentally prepared for this. No, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. The near had to hold me down.
Oh, no.
I was nearly screaming, it was terrible.
Did you have to get bone marrow taken?
Huh?
Bone marrow? Did you ever
No.
get bone marrow taken? You would have loved that.
No, I didn't, thank
That was
goodness,
not
but-
fun. That was the one thing I really didn't like.
But that was the one thing, getting the pick line out, I was like, right, no, we're not friends anymore. Thanks.
That's it.
Thanks for your services, but bye-bye.
We're done.
Is that us done?
Yeah.
Oh my word.
It's so
It looks
quick.
fabulous. It looks so like messy.
So I literally just do it with a wee bit of sour cream, wee bit of guacamole in a wrap. You can put cheese, you can put, sometimes I put crispy onions in it.
Well, we'll put it in a wrap then.
Yeah, we can put it in a wrap.
See how
Do
it
we
looks.
have a plate? So I can put it on a plate.
So our fajitas are done and we are ready to rock and roll. So you just wing it all into the
Yeah,
wrap,
just
yeah?
a wee bit of guac on the wrap. Wee bit of sour cream. You don't have to like do it this way. You can do salsa. You can leave it just in the wrap. You can put cheese on it. It's personal preference. You can do crispy onions. You can do whatever.
It looks amazing. Lizzie, before we finish, you're going to have to tell me about Stanley.
So Stanley was my pick line because my nurse told me that I would like it better if I named it maybe. Because I would have like an emotional connection to it. So the first thing
it's not a dog.
I know. So the first thing that came into my head was like Stanley. Like I was half joking. I was kind of annoyed at her, and I was kind of like, right, Stanley. And then I decided there was one evening that I took one of my steroid pills too late in the day, and so I was like wired up to a Mars bar at night. Couldn't sleep. So yeah, I was like really energetic, couldn't sleep. The night before I had totally like stripped my room and reorganized it and moved furniture and kept my mum and dad awake all night, so I was like, I can't do that. So then I just sat there in bed with a notepad and just started thinking about Stanley and how I could like, I remember looking at my arm being like, this is disgusting, this creeps me out. Like imagine if I was like a child getting treatment, like 5 years old.
Yeah.
Like how would I feel about that? That would be like, I just thought that would be massive for a child that age.
It's quite invasive, I think.
Yeah, so I thought like, how could I make it seem not fun, it's never going to be fun, but a wee bit more like that they could relate to it.
Yeah.
So I wrote a story about how Stanley was like a superhero and about the adventures of Stanley and like the process of like him going, like why he's there, and then when he gets taken away and stuff, and what he does when he's there, and like he'll make you better, and this is how you get your medicine so that you don't have to get injections.
Oh my word. I would absolutely love to read it.
Yeah.
I would love to. That's an amazing thing to do. Right, so we're wrapping the wrap up now.
I tuck the bottom in,
okay,
then tuck either side in and then roll. And that usually keeps it together. And then you can also toast it. It's nice if you put it in a toasty maker now like this.
Ooh, yeah.
You can toast it so it's crispy on the outside.
Well.
But
Lizzie,
that's it.
I have absolutely loved talking to you today.
Thank you.
It's so lovely to meet you, and you're a fabulous cook. Well, I haven't tasted it yet, but I'm sure you are a fabulous cook.
Thanks.